Hello, Richard Snowden here from McGrath Estate Agents. Can you believe it, we're almost at the end of the financial year? Today I have two experts with me, Chantal Flostone, who's the head of our property management team here at the McGrath office, and Ellery Charlton from KPMG Accountants. Chantal, what is it an investor can do to make sure they're maximising their return on their investment properties?
One thing they should be looking at is making sure that rent reviews are conducted frequently. What we're seeing at the moment, especially with low vacancy rates and the strong tenant demand, is that in some cases where tenants have been in the property for a long time, they may be under rented now because those rent reviews haven't been carried out. What we have seen with some properties that we have taken over recently, they have actually been as much as $100 per week. Wow. Under rented, so it is really important to make sure that that is being done at least at every anniversary of the lease renewal.
Chantal, if I was buying my first investment property or another investment property, what do you think the key factors are that tenants look for when they're going to be renting a property?
They look for things that are close to amenities. So schools is important, especially with catchment areas now becoming so tight. People really want to get in a certain area because of that school's reputation. So that's one big thing. As well as being close to amenities, so transport, sporting facilities, close to cafes, restaurants, lifestyle features that people look for. They're really the most important factors that we see tenants looking for properties.
Larry, what would you recommend for landlords leading up to the end of the financial year?
Well, what I often recommend my clients do if they haven't done so already is to actually engage a quantity surveyor to come in and assess their property. And they'll obtain a quantity surveyor report which actually will detail the capital works and capital allowance deductions for them that are tax deductible. And the other benefit too is that the cost of actually obtaining a quantity surveyor to come in is also tax deductible.
If a landlord makes improvements on the property, does this affect their capital gains or their actual returns?
Yes, so what happens is any construction costs that a person incurs towards their rental property, they generally get a deduction at 2.5% or 4%. Obviously it's different depending on the circumstances around that. Generally speaking, deduction of 2.5% or 4% every year. And when they come to the point of actually selling their property, any undeducted construction cost actually get added to the cost base of the property. So obviously if the cost of the property is increased, then the capital gains is reduced. So any potential capital gains is reduced.
What's the best advice you can give to minimise tax at the end of the financial year?
So there's a couple of things I often recommend clients do. Firstly, I think it's so important to just make sure you're maintaining records throughout the year, just to make sure you're maximising your deductions that are available to you and you're not scrambling around at year end looking for what you can do. The second thing I always recommend is that if you are looking to purchase a property for the first time, it's definitely worth having a discussion with your accountant just to determine what is the best entity structure to actually purchase the property. As depending on the type of entity you use to purchase the property, there are different disadvantages and advantages that have an impact, particularly when you're coming to sell the property down the track.
Thank you very much, ladies. As always, if you need any real estate advice, please feel free to contact me, Richard Snowden of McGrath Estate Agents.